Hello dear students, how are you? I hope you're fine. Today is our last lesson. That's why I want to provide this lesson totally in English language. I will try to use the easy words and easy sentences, make an easy sentence to explain you in easy way. So, 2 years ago, I think at this time approximately, I started to make a video like lessons to teach you English language. I hope many of you already learned something in English. Today I will talk you about some like sheets about some rules of English language. So actually English language is not very easy, but only for example about pronunciation. So pronounce, it means, so in Tajiki language it is talaffuz, pronounce. So maybe to pronounce English words, English letters, it is maybe a little difficult, but totally, if you see, English language is not difficult. So, for example, in Tajiki language, how we make a sentence. For example, first of all, we put noun. For example, noun, do you know, I hope you know what does mean noun. Noun, it is Jonishin. Okay, let me write. For example, in Tajik language, first we put noun. For example, man. And then we say another, for example, adjective, another, and in the end we use verb. So verb is action. So verb is part of speech. It means it explains about actions. For example, open, close, go, come, give, get, take, and another actions. In Tajik language, we put the actions. So the verb, I mean, in the end of sentence. For example, how? I say, man kitobi nav mecharam. So you see, for example, pronoun, then noun, then adjective, then verb. Actually, in Tajik language, we put the verb in the end, as I told you. But in English language, we mostly, actually in most situation, we put the verb after pronoun. For example, if I translate this in English language, I put pronoun, so I, then mecharam. So in the end, I will put here, for example, the verb will come after noun, after pronoun, I'm sorry. I buy. So you see, I buy. Kitobi nav. So, for example, in Tajik language, if we want to somehow explain something, how is that? For example, first we put noun or an object, and then we put adjective. But in English language, it is in another way. For example, first we put adjective. I buy, we put adjective first, then a noun. So I buy a. So wait a moment. A new. I buy a new, then book. So book. So that's all, yeah. Look, I buy a new book. Actually, English language is not so difficult. For example, as difficult as Russian or Tajik language. For example, the word mecharam. Actually, this word is kharidan. But for example, when we use this for example, to say for ourselves, we say man mecharam. If we want to say about another one, we say vay mekharad. It means that the verb is always changing in Tajik language or in Russian language. It is very difficult to understand because you must learn several words to explain one thing. But in English language, it is another way. You need to learn one word and you will use in many situations. So, for example, the word buy. In Tajik language, it is kharidan. But in English, we can use I buy, you buy. So, we buy, they buy. So you see, for example, no any changings. So the verb will stay as it is in origin, but only in one situation. For example, if you mean about one person or one thing, you add a letter S after the verb. For example, if I say he, it is only one person. If I say he, I use he buys. But it's only in present simple. So when you use present simple tense, you say he takes or my father takes, because your father is only one person. If, for example, you say my father and brother, you say take, not takes, because already father and brother, they are two persons. So as you see, English is not difficult. So only one type of verbs. You don't need to change in any situations. So another moment. So how to understand? So I think that the most like how to make it easy for you. So some part of grammar that many students want to know, many beginners and elementary levels, I mean, about verb to be. Actually, what is verb to be? For example, in Tajik language, we're so happy that in Tajik language we have such verb. For example, we say budan. We say budan. This is to be. In Tajik language, so we say man mebosham, vay meboshad, onho meboshand. I mean that the verb to be, the verb budan will change. For example, when you use another and another and another pronouns, it will change depending on pronouns. It is the same thing in English language. For example, the verb to be, it is only verb that changes in situation depending on pronoun. For example, we say to be. We will divide. So divide means divide. So for example, this is one thing. So divide. Now I divided it. So divide means divide. You understand, I hope. For example, to be. We will divide this verb to several words. For example, to be is. Is, it is meboshad. For one person, является. Another, am. Am means mebosham. So as you see, we are dividing this verb. So is meboshad, it means for one person. He is a student. Vay donishu meboshad. But about am it means mebosham. It used only for who it tells. For example, who tells it. I, for example, I, man. I am a doctor. Man, doktor mebosham. So this means am. It means I am. Another is are. So the only difference between are and is, it is when there are several objects or subjects, we use are. For example, they are a student. Because they, it means many people, so many persons, not only one, but many persons. For example, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 10, maybe 1,000, and so on. So, for example, we use he is a doctor. We use is, he, because he, it is only one person. When we want to say about ourselves, we say I am a teacher. I am a teacher. If you mean about several persons or several objects or subjects, you say we. For example, we, it means I, my friend, my brother, my father, and so etc. So that's why we are not only one person, we are many. That's why we say we are students, or we are a football player. So football player, it means a person who plays football. It means football player. So you see, and now what I want to tell you about to be. All of these words we use in present sentence, so in present tense. I mean, for example, in now and today, in present, commonly. For example, I say, I am not a student, I am a teacher. But if, for example, we need to use another tenses, I mean future or past tenses, we will change them. For example, is, we will translate as was, am, also it's the same thing. In past tense, both words will be the same, and are will be were. So you see, for example, in present tense, when you say, for example, I am a student, or he is a student, or my father is a student, or a driver, for example, in past tense, you use for both words only one. For example, I was a student last year. Last year, it means not now, but 1 year ago. So you say, I was a student last year. Or if you say he, you'll use was. He was a student last year. Or for example, he was in Moscow last month. It means last month. Month, it is months. So moh, or year, it translates in Tajiki as sol, год, или лет, лет вряд ли думаю. Год, sol. So months, it means moh. For example, last month, it means mohi peshin, yani jak moh pesh. Okay, and about war. War, it is the same thing, but only we use this when we need to explain about several subjects or objects. For example, I say, they were in Vladivostok last week. They were. Because they, it means not only one person, it means many. Maybe one, maybe, I'm sorry, not one. Maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe so etc. Not one. So I hope you understand. And about future. So about future, it is the same. So we have two. Actually, I say that we have only one. For example, will be. Will be. So you see, for example, in present, so in present we have 3, in past we have 2, in future we have 1. So one word. It is so easy to understand. And how we can use will be? It is the same situation. For example, if you need to say, for example, next year, it means соле oyand. I will be a doctor next year. Man دکتر خواهم بود یعنی خواهم شد سال آینده. If you want to use about several persons or several subjects, you will use the same. For example, they will be a teachers after 2 years. یعنی بعد 2 سال آنها معلم خواهند شد. Or if you need to say about one person only, for example, he or she or your father, your brother, you say he will be. So as you see, in the future tense, the verb to be is only one word, will be, and that's all. So, and I hope you understand this. If you have any questions, you can ask. You can write your question under this video. So, another thing about English language, so I think you need to know, it is how to use articles. For example, we have a, we have the, so an. These are an articles in English language. And how to understand, how we can understand which of them is which. The mostly we use when it is something already we know it. It is something already in past tense. About so the definite, if you know what does mean definite, so the we use for definite things. So a and an we use for indefinite. So I will explain you how understand why here is two articles a and an. For example, there are some words beginning with letter a, or for example o, or for example age in some situations. So we need to use an because, for example, I will explain you apple. Okay, wait a moment. Apple and dog. So I hope you know what does mean apple, and I hope you know what does mean dog. And now look, apple. It begin with letter A. Dog, it is not with like letter A. If, for example, we put here the same article like a and a, and when we start pronouns, I said you before what does mean pronouns. So look, for example, if I say a dog, it is normal, it sounds normal. But when I say a apple, it is a little bit difficult. For example, we cannot say like a apple because it will be a little difficult. But we can add here an. When we say an apple, it is all right. It is okay. It's not problem. If we say it sounds good. And now, for example, we say I have a dog. I have an apple. It is so easy to say this. If we don't have, for example, an, if we only want to use a, we cannot because it will sound little not nice. I say I have an apple. We cannot say that. I have an apple. Or for example, uncle. We say uncle. So uncle. Uncle. You see, the word is starting with the letter U, but as you know, for example, sometimes at the beginning we read this as a. And for example, we say, I don't know, you see this or not. Uncle, for example, when we want to put article, of course, so we need to put article n because the word is beginning with letter U, and we read it as a. For example, uncle and uncle. For example, I have a very kind uncle. Or I have a uncle. We cannot say a uncle. We say I have an uncle. I have an uncle. So this was the how understand where we can put a or where we can n. And now about the. As I told you, the we use when we know already what we are talking about, or it is for definite things. So, for example, I say I have, or for example, I say, I want an apple. No, I would like to write have. I have an apple. For example, when I begin to tell, I say, I have an apple. I have an apple. And then I want to continue this sentence. Already I told about apple. Already you know what I'm going to talk about. I'm talking about this apple. That's why, for example, if I will continue this sentence, I will use article the, because already in first sentence I told you apple. And if we continue, then we use the, because we know about what we are talking. So, I have an apple. The apple, so the apple is green. So you see, I have an apple. The apple is green. As I told you before, in the first, we are introducing something that we don't know, you don't know. For example, I say I have an apple. Already you know that I have an apple. And now I say that what kind is this apple? I say the apple is green. Why I use the? Because already I told you and we know what we are talking about. About what apple? About this apple. That's why when the subject or object is definite, we use the article the. And mostly when the past tense, we use article the. When we are talking around or about something in the past, we will use the, because in the past already we know what we are talking about. So that was some rules of like elementary level of English language. Now, so I would like to add some words in Tajik language. خب دوستان عزیز، یعنی ما مدتی قریب تقریبا 20 دقیقه با شما با زبان انگلیسی فهماندهی کردیم. باور دارم که شما فهمیدید ما امروز درباره چی گپ زدیم. یعنی امروز درس جنبستی ما بود. با این خیر خوش نمیکنیم. یعنی من در ویدیو دیگر درباره دیگر نقشه‌های یعنی پیشروی دیگر نقشه ها به شما خواهم فهمونید. یعنی مدت 2 سال است که یعنی درس ها ثبت کرده ایستادیم. پیشکش شما میگردونیم، یعنی کاملا رایگان شما میتوانید داخل شوید و بخونید تمام. و این چونی ما به دیگرها هم به طریق آنلاین با اسکایپ و زوم درس گذاشته ایستادیم، در انگلیسی یاد داده ایستادیم. اکنون باری اول در توجیکستان، یعنی شخصا خودی من و دیگر نفرانی که به من یاری داده ایستادن، یعنی ما یکمین مکتبی آنلاین رو تشکیل میدهیم. عین حال شما میتوانید با این پایان، یعنی نوشتگی هستن در پایان، onlineomuzиш.com، یعنی